RCWR show with Lee Sanders is intended for a mature audience only. The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive. Covering the latest in wrestling and beyond since 2011. You're listening to the RCWR show. Now, your host, live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, what is going on, good kind people? You're checking out the season finale of the RCWR show with Lee Sanders, covering the latest in all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. Couple of minutes removed from a new WWE RAW. Here we are. We made it to this point. There was just so much content we put out for the month of May, and everything pretty much has culminated to this point. I'm definitely very appreciative of you guys that had checked out all of the great content that we put out all month long for this month. Appreciate definitely those of you that's representing checking out this season finale that we're doing for you guys. Yeah, I'm a little sad about it, but you know, long time coming, and honestly, it's really been, I gotta tell you, since I've been doing the shows, this is probably the first time that I've actually really taken a step back and just totally just relaxed, really decompress, go out, do something fun and all of that. So I'm looking forward to just the mental break and everything, but we're definitely going to be coming back much stronger and better than before. We're definitely going to be keeping the show very simple as far as what we're going to be covering on tonight's episode. Not really that much has gone down since last we were on the air with you guys. So unless there's something particular you want me to get into here tonight, we're pretty much just going to talk about WWE RAW. And what a great way to go out on this season finale, by the way, because I actually did the whole WWE Thunderdome experience with regards to tonight's RAW. So I'll definitely talk about that and my overall thoughts of RAW this week. But we're also going to talk about the Ultimate Warrior documentaries. Remember, I sadly did not get an opportunity to talk about it all last week, and I didn't really feel comfortable talking about one, knowing I was going to have to turn right back around and talk about another one a couple of days later. I really wanted to put myself in a good position where, okay, I've seen both now. I want to talk about both of these, and that's definitely what we're going to be doing here tonight. Nothing long-winded. It's definitely going to be a good, fun, unbiased comparison for you guys. So for those of you that particularly a little bit on the fence, you're trying to figure out which one you should check out, or you know, you just want to hear my thoughts overall about those specials, you're definitely in the right place for that. Couple of little trinkets of some news, but we're pretty much just going to be in and out. So hey, as always, appreciate those of you that go out of your way to check out the show, especially live. Definitely on demand and on the downloads. I was actually adding up all the analytics from all the platforms because a lot of people have the misconception that all we just are focused on is just strictly YouTube, and we're actually not. I mean, if it was a case where YouTube was having issues for a period of 90 days or 6 months, you know, longtime listeners know this. The way our show initially began, our show began as strictly an audio-only show. And I pretty much go back to the days where you could still pretty much do a podcast with your phone. So I pretty much came in at the tail end of when that was starting to get pretty played out and everything. So, you know, to be doing it that long and pretty much be where we are now, you know, like 10 years later, basically, it's pretty amazing when I take a step back and I think about it and everything. But yeah, so, you know, we got a good show. That's lined up for you guys. Appreciate those of you who check out the show on demand live as always. I hope your weekend was fantastic. Hey, it's still Memorial Day. I definitely, once again, I know I had said it yesterday on the AEW, technically this morning, because remember that AEW Double or Nothing show didn't go off until pretty much midnight Memorial Day Monday. So I know I said it on that show, but I definitely want to say it once again. I definitely, from the bottom of my heart, from the Sanders household, to those of you that serve in the military, sacrifices that you made, or your significant others, your family members that served in the military. Definitely appreciate the sacrifices that you all have made, for our freedom and everything. It's greatly appreciative. You have no idea. So hopefully you guys, were able to get out there and in your own way, really cherish the holiday, and hopefully you were able to celebrate in style with your loved ones and all that. So, it's nice that we're getting to that point, man, as far as the normalcy and all that goes. So, Raw tonight, I don't really think we need to put a poll out there with regards to Raw. I really don't think we need to go there. But Raw tonight, pretty decent episode for a Memorial Day edition episode. I felt they did okay overall. I definitely am willing to give them a passing grade. And if you guys can just indulge me for a quick second here, I actually want to close some windows down because it's kind of eating away at the bandwidth and I don't want it messing with the stream. Also, give me a quick second here. I actually want to open up the chat. I thought I had the chat open at my end so I could see what you guys are saying. And boom, there we go. Now we're good. But no, I thought for a Memorial Day edition, normally history has shown that WWE will pretty much phone it in when it comes to their Memorial Day edition episodes. But this one felt kind of okay. It was good. I actually found myself pleasantly enjoying the show for most of the episode and everything. That was just me. I mean, look, were there a couple of spots that I honestly could have done without? Yes, definitely yes. I actually did something I haven't done in a good minute when it comes to talking about these shows and everything. I took down some pretty good, well-detailed notes right here. And I found myself taking well-detailed notes this go round, particularly because I was doing the WWE Thunderdome experience. Now, if you guys remember several weeks ago, I pretty much went through the gist of the WWE Thunderdome. And if you remember just one thing, there's one thing you really need to home in on as far as, hey, when it's all said and done, I recommend you do the Thunderdome for XYZ. I had talked about, and let me just crank myself up just a little bit more here, because I'm looking at the recording joint. Give me a second here. Play with this a little more. Audio check, audio check. That's kind of humming in just a little bit. Let me put it right about. How's that, guys? Is that a little too loud for you guys? Am I kind of spiking a little bit? Is that sounding a little too hot? Let me know. But it doesn't look like I'm peaking at all or anything. If anything, let me just turn that down. And let me just, yeah, there we go. There we go. I got the audio recording in the background, so I'm just trying to make sure everything is nice and banging here, sounding pretty good. Yeah, remember several weeks I told you guys about the Thunderdome experience, and if there was one thing in particular I said towards the end, just overall, I said, if it's a case where maybe you're by yourself or your family is hitting the bed a little early, you're going to be pretty wired and everything, okay, yeah, sure, definitely take advantage of the Thunderdome experience and all that. And for me, I believe I had it's interesting because as of late, I've been getting emails about WWE Thunderdome. I've been getting them off and on for several weeks now. Hey, come join this show. Hey, come join this show. Come join this pay-per-view. Get the Thunderdome experience for this pay-per-view. And usually, honestly, my work schedule typically has been getting in the way of that. If it wasn't my work schedule, sometimes my schoolwork would get in the way as well. And, but I think there was a Friday night Smackdown one I got invited to. And I think I told you guys about some of that. I wasn't able to just go through the entire episode though. I can't remember what was going on at the time, but anyway, that's not the point. So this go around a couple of days ago, I actually got an email. Hey, Lee, we want you to join the Thunderdome for Raw. I'm like, okay, what the hell? It's a holiday. My girl's got to go to bed early because she's got to get up for work, but early Tuesday. I'm pretty much going to be on vacation as of Monday. Okay, sure. What the hell? So I actually went on ahead, did the Thunderdome, heard back from them. When was it? I think I heard back from them earlier this afternoon to pretty much begin my day. And they told me that my call-in time to pretty much get patched into the Thunderdome was at 9:30 p.m. So, nice fun day, by the way. As far as the Memorial Day, as far as me and the missus, what we did, we just pretty much made our last-minute preparations because we're pretty much going to be heading out of town Wednesday. No, we're pretty much going to be heading out of town this Thursday to our the site of our wedding, and pretty much from there, we got to go to the court. We got to go to the Justice of the Peace, pick up some documents and all that. I guess the marriage license. I'm not really sure, but something we're supposed to pick up paperwork wise, and then check into our condo and all that, and then pretty much Saturday is going to be the wedding, and from there, we're going to enjoy the start of our honeymoon. We're actually going to be coming back home as we make our way to finish out our honeymoon in New York. Like I said, I think we're only going to be back home for like maybe one day. Then we're pretty much going to go right to New York and everything and chill out there for a little bit. So, but the Memorial Day holiday was pretty good. I made some nice vegan meals this go round. I wanted to take it easy since the wedding's coming up and we're most likely going to be pigging out post-wedding. So I made some really nice portable mushrooms, little small mini portable mushrooms that have crammed in them some really nice spices, some mozzarella cheese and all that. Also had made some Impossible burgers. Hook that up with some onion hamburger buns, ketchup, mustard. You guys know there's a new, believe it or not, there is a new Chick-fil-A sauce that's running around. It tastes the bomb. Those of you that mess with Chick-fil-A and you grocery shop a lot like me, you know exactly the sauces I'm talking about that's in the stores. I think there's only 2 flavors right now. They got one that tastes like, it almost tastes like a sweet honey mustard. It's got like a sweet honey mustard type of vibe to it. The other one, I can't really remember what the other one is. I would know the name if I heard it though. But yeah, I had whipped that up. That was pretty good. And then pretty much from there, did a little bit of cleaning up. And then boom, it pretty much was time for me to do Thunderdome. I actually got on Thunderdome probably 15 minutes early. And I was actually locked out for a little bit while I was waiting on the seat. And then wham, like after about 4 minutes, I was automatically connected and everything. And it was pretty good. Matter of fact, I'm doing all this talking. Let me actually show you guys a couple of screenshots of my Thunderdome experience here. I didn't take that many photos. I just pretty much took, I took probably about 2, maybe 3, but these are the ones I want to show you here. So this pretty much gives you a good idea once you're connected into Thunderdome. You pretty much, there's no reason for you to be paying attention to the WWE programming on your TV or on your tablet, because once you get connected into the Thunderdome, you automatically get picture and sound of that WWE event. So you can pretty much turn off that TV or whatever that had the show playing, and you can pretty much watch from your computer or however you decided you wanted to connect to the WWE Thunderdome. Now, the audio is a little bit out of sync when you see everything that's going on, but if you're not a stickler for detail and all that, you can kind of overlook that. It's actually a pretty good experience as far as the definition quality. And this is exactly how you are seeing it. This is exactly how it had played out on my screen, and my internet connection is extremely good. My internet connection is not in, it doesn't buffer. There's no type of, I can get the truest, highest picture quality that there is, but it kind of seems that the way WWE is showing things with their Thunderdome experience, I won't say 720p. I think that would be an insult to them, but it definitely is in 1080p. It definitely isn't 1080p. Now, I don't think if that's 1080p, yeah, but yeah, if you can get past that, it's pretty good. And just to kind of bring it back up one more time, they have you, as I had mentioned a couple of weeks ago, they test your microphone, so you got to make sure you're syncing up the right microphone, and then they want to connect your webcam and all that. The way this pretty much works, you have to connect some type of webcam in order to have a virtual seat as a fan. So, and as you can see in the little corner here where I'm at, that's pretty much how you appear. That's how you can pretty much look at yourself while all the action is playing out from WWE programming. This was our main event match, by the way, as Kofi Kingston have faced Drew McIntyre. We'll talk about that match in a hot second. And then here's another one I'll show you guys. Same scene from the same main event, basically, as MVP Lashley were in their little suite, executive suite, looking on as Kofi Kingston and Drew McIntyre were beating the hell out of each other. Classic matchup, by the way. So that gives you a good idea. By the way, now that you guys have an idea of particularly what I was wearing, and you all know I'm usually wearing a hat anyway, almost towards the end of the main event match, like right before the match is over, actually, just home in on the last 5 minutes, you can actually see me, believe it or not. And it's really cool because, as you guys can kind of tell when you're watching these shows, you get an idea of, okay, hard camera is right here. Pretty much where I was behind the hard cameras, but I was off to the left. So at one point during the main event match, Kofi Kingston and Drew McIntyre, not only did they take the action outside the ring, but, if you're kind of following the hard camera, outside the ring, like pretending as if they are getting in front of that hard camera and that hard camera is pretty much following them, I'm pretty much in the first 2 rows from the floor across from the ring. I'm pretty much either in the first row or the second row of virtual monitors, but you can see me clear as day. I appeared on your TV screen for about, I would say, not even 5 seconds. I would say 3, maybe 4 seconds tops. But you watch me enough of these shows, and you're like, okay, Lee said he's going to be in the Thunderdome. You definitely, it's definitely one of those, if you'd have blanked, you'd have missed it. And it was so funny because I wasn't even looking for myself. No bullshit. I was not looking for myself on the TV there. I just happened to be taking down some notes. I look up and then wham, I just see myself. I go, oh shit. And I did go tell my girl about that, and she was like, oh, where? Let me see. As she was going to go to bed. And I said, oh, you got to rewind it. When we tried to rewind it, it was trying to, not from the Thunderdome, but we were actually trying to rewind it via the DVR on our YouTube TV. For some reason, it was trying to take us back almost to the beginning of the episode. I thought that was kind of weird. So she wasn't able to see it and everything. So shout out, if you were able to spot me, let me know. Or now that I've said that, I'm curious who's now gonna, oh yeah, I spotted you, and circle it and all that good stuff. So look, we had a new WWE RAW color commentator that made his debut tonight, a Mr. Jimmy Smith. We pretty much know him from the fighting MMA world and everything. He did pretty damn good. I gotta say, I tell you guys, when it comes to the commentating, particularly for WWE RAW, I'm not really a fan of it. I usually have it on mute and everything, but I tried to give Adnan Virk an opportunity. I really did. I tried my best to give this man a chance. I felt he was very rough around the edges. I felt that he was too much of a ESPN baseball kind of weatherman kind of guy. That's the type of voice that I felt he had. And, you could tell you're blue in the face, oh, but he's such a big pro wrestling fan. He's this and he's that. Oh, he has such a great wrestling memorabilia collection. You can tell me all of those things, but it just felt as though it wasn't meshing. And I'm not going to beat that whole horse to death yet again in regards to Adnan Virk, because we pretty much put a nice pretty ribbon around that topic when we found out last week about him parting ways with WWE. But Jimmy Smith, in just the 90 seconds that he was talking on Raw tonight, you were locked in. You just felt, oh, I mean, you know, if you were slouching in your chair at first because you were just still thinking about Adnan Virk and how pretty much Saxton and Graves were pretty much carrying his ass and all that, you know, if you were already tonight just slouched in your chair, just, yeah, whatever. It's going to be the same old usual for WWE. You know, you got your little drink, you know, you just ready to go. You ready to go. Having problems going to sleep, you got WWE RAW. That's pretty much your cure for tonight. But as soon as Jimmy Smith started talking, the energy, the enthusiasm, wait a minute, he actually fits that WWE realm. All of a sudden, from slouching, you now go, oh, wait a minute. Oh, who is this guy? Hey, he sounds pretty good. And then when you see the face to the voice, I mean, Jimmy Smith looked like he can definitely kick some ass too. He looks like he's thrown down over the years. He looks like he knows a thing or two about fighting and all that, you know, as far as actually physically, you know, and all that. Look, I don't know that much about Jimmy Smith. So the last thing I'm going to do is come on here and try to pretend, oh, no, I'm not doing that. I understand that he was a UFC analyst, former Bellator guy, reporter, you know, analyst and all that good stuff. So, I mean, this is a great transition for the man. Definitely. It's a great transition for him. Quite pleased. I was quite pleased with the man. I think this is a really good fit. It really is. You know, it's kind of funny when I kick back and I think about Jimmy Smith too, because for the longest time, you remember those reports from a couple of years back about how one of the guys that WWE was real hard on pursuing was Mike Goldberg. For the longest time, they wanted them some Mike Goldberg. Remember that? And there was a couple of times there where it kind of seemed as though, okay, maybe they're actually going to. And Jimmy Smith is a fighter too, isn't he? I haven't even seen any of his fights, but he is a fighter, isn't he? So to kind of go back on what I just said a couple of minutes ago about he looks like he knows a thing or two about fighting and all that. See? It's kind of coming back. It's coming back. Yeah, my mind, you know, I'm getting a little rusty. I'm getting up there in age and all that. It happens to the best of us. But yeah, I mean, this guy, he knows a thing or two about mixed martial arts. He knows a thing or two about fighting. What was that TV show he had co-hosted? Fight Quest with Doug Anderson. So, you know, this also a former color commentator, like I said earlier, for the UFC, for Bellator, and for Premier Boxing Champions. Former host for American Ninja Warrior and all that. Great transition for this guy, and he's still relatively young, 43 years of age. You could definitely do a lot with this guy in the years to come. I know a lot of people, and credit to you guys that try to let me know, hey, you know, he did something at a NXT TakeOver event. I sadly did not check that out. But I love what I heard of him tonight. I think this is a great addition. It's a great replacement to Adnan Virk. For me, the experiment just wasn't going anywhere. It just wasn't. And I wouldn't be surprised if deep down, Adnan Virk said, you know, I'm just not really cut out for this. This really isn't for me. I just don't feel that I'm a good match for this. Let me just take myself out of the equation. And I honestly would not be surprised if that's how he honestly felt. And just to kind of briefly, without, again, really touching upon it because we went in depth about it last week. I would not be surprised if one of the main factors in him deciding, and now look, depending on how you want to, what story you want to believe. If you want to believe that, Hannah Verk decided, hey, this really kind of isn't working out. Maybe we should part ways, or, well, being on the road as it is right now, and then with WWE going back on the live tour pretty soon, that's going to put even more strain on, my relationship, with my family and everything. And I just don't know if I'm really cut out for that. You can spin it however the way you want to spin it, but I would like to also believe that there was also probably a part of him that, this just isn't working for me. I definitely would not be surprised if he was paying attention to a lot of the things that were being said of him on social media. I don't think that was a factor, but you know how some of these people are. Some of these people, they do care. They do care about what the public is saying about them. They do pay attention to that critique and everything. And, if you pay attention to all the criticism that you get from any and everybody, you're not being you. You're not living your life. You are not, you feel where I'm coming from? So it's just, at the end of the day, you pretty much just got to be like, you know what? Fuck the haters. I'm just going to be worried about myself. If other people don't particularly like the fact that, I'm not giving them any press, I'm not giving them the time or day of having that real estate in my mind, where, I got them on the brain, that's on them. Some people feed off of the drama. Some people feed off of the negativity. And it's like, a lot of times you just got to rise above. You got to be the bigger and better person and just really put your foot down and say, yeah, I definitely ain't having that. But, it is what it is with Hannah Verk. But Jimmy Smith, fucking A, damn good job. Now, as complimentary as I was right there, how the hell we go from that to essentially killing the first 20 minutes of WWE RAW? Now, look, I said there was definitely a lot of good. We just touched upon, man, you just heard me rant and rave there about Jimmy Smith. But WWE, come on now. I love you guys. Thank you for the great WWE Thunderdome experience, by the way. That was great. It really was. I had some nice music quietly playing in the background. I'm jotting down my notes. I'm doing a little bit of browsing in between the commercial breaks that was going on and all that with the Thunderdome. It was a great experience overall. Would I do it again? Sure, I wouldn't mind doing it again. But great Thunderdome experience, WWE. I loved it. Hey, look, I'm free for the next little bit. I wouldn't mind doing it again. So definitely hit your man up. But how are we going to waste 20 minutes with a talking segment, WWE? Come on now. That's not cool. We kick it off with the Miz TV. Miz is just boom. He's just right there. And, we heard the rumblings of Miz was potentially injured. And in fact, he did say that he was injured in his match against Bad Bunny and Damian Priest at Mania. And one thing that kind of remained a little bit unclear, because it never really was brought up. It was not brought up. I won't say it really wasn't. No, it was not brought up. He talked about how for the first time in his career, he actually suffered an injury, but that at the same time, he really wasn't trying to be out on the sideline. He wanted to get back to the WWE as much as humanly possible. It's kind of cool that the way he tried to spin it and everything. And there's still that acknowledgement towards the zombies and all that other stuff. Morrison having a garlic necklace around his neck and all that, trying to keep away whatever evil spirits, vampires and all. Okay, all right, cool. But we waste 20 minutes. We waste 20 minutes of a talking segment where pretty much Miz, Morrison were interviewing Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair, she's pretty much out there talking about, hey, this match that I got coming up at Hell in a Cell against Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's Championship. Rhea Ripley's fairy tale story that's been going on right now is going to be coming to a halting, it's going to be coming to a crashing halt at Hell in a Cell. The dream is over. Reality is going to kick in, going to become a champion for, what'd she say, the 14th, 15th time, or basically, something along those lines. Rhea Ripley comes out next. It was like, okay, we're piling on here. All right, so they have their little verbal jab. They're going back and forth. But then we get Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross, the little Wolverine, the little honey badger. She comes out and she reminds us, because it's pretty easy to forget. It was just last week, and I totally did forget. No bull, I did forget. But last week, she defeated Nikki Cross. Remember that beat the clock challenge? It's about 4 minutes, wasn't it? So 4-minute beat the clock challenge, and she survived. She beat Nikki Cross, something that essentially Charlotte Flair hasn't been able to do yet. So somehow this sets up Nikki Cross. I didn't mean to do that sigh, by the way. It was just, it happens, folks. But Nikki Cross decides, hey, since I had defeated the Raw Women's Champion, then I think it's only fair that I get the winner of you all's match at Hell in a Cell for the championship. Charlotte Flair jumps in there and says, if life were fair, I would be the Raw Women's Champion right now, but life isn't fair. So her and Nikki Cross actually exchange a few heated words, and this puts a nice challenge out there where Rhea Ripley says, hey, look, I know I can definitely defeat you, just as I defeated Rhea Ripley. I know I can beat you. And hell, I can definitely beat you in 4 minutes. Somehow, I don't know if it was Charlotte Flair that brought it up or if it was Nikki Cross that brought it up, but someone brought up the idea of, hell, just need 2 minutes. And so, challenge was pretty much accepted there, but Nikki Cross went into this match pretty much on agreement from Charlotte Flair. Okay, look, if I survive this 2-minute challenge, I'm able to beat you, then I think it's only fair and right that, without a doubt, Hell in a Cell, whoever comes out on top, I get a shot at them for the championship. So Charlotte pretty much agreed to those stipulations. Rhea Ripley decided she wanted to actually kick back at ringside, watch this match in particular. I like the psychology that went into it when the counter began, as Nikki Cross was running around, trying to kill some time and everything. I kind of liked how all of that played out. And I tell you, I thought Charlotte Flair was definitely going to wrap this up, but the way it panned out at the end, Nikki Cross pulling another upset right here. So I know some people are looking at this, and some people may say, Lee, I remember what you said last week, talking about it's not the beginning of a Nikki Cross push, but dog, man, look what they did to my girl, Nikki Cross, 2 weeks in a row now, man. Man, 2 weeks in a row. Man, I'm telling you, man, she's getting... No, just pump the brakes. Ain't got nothing to do with a push. It's just pump the brakes. Just enjoy it for what it's worth. For those of you that have been big Nikki Cross fans, I know a lot of you are. I definitely remember her stuff on the Independents and all that. I know there's a lot of you fans out there. But my biggest piece of advice to you guys right now, just enjoy the ride for all it's worth. Just enjoy it. This little bit of camera time that she's getting, these matches that she's having and everything, just enjoy it for what it's worth. It's not going to last that long. Look, and I'm not just saying that for the hell of it. I'm not being nonchalant about it. I'm actually legit happy for Nikki Cross. Because, let's be for real. Keep it 100 for a second. How many times have I come on here on this show? Fuck is Nikki Cross? What are they doing with Nikki Cross? Man, look at what the hell they're doing there with Nikki Cross. It's a fucking travesty, man. How come they don't have her doing, XYZ and all that? Remember how it was 2 weeks ago? I believe it was 2 weeks ago, and Morrison was in that lumberjack match with Damian Priest. Remember that? That was on Raw, and Nikki Cross was just, boom, right there. Just right there as a lumberjack. And you're kind of going, what the hell? And so, I mean, I'm enjoying it for what it's worth, because off and on these past couple of months, I definitely have been very vocal about Nikki Cross. This girl needs to get more love. Why aren't they showing her more love? So I'm enjoying what's going on with her right now. By the way, you guys doing okay? I'm just trying to make sure you guys aren't having any streaming issues going on there. Let me just check on something real quick here. You seem to be pretty good so far. Hang on here, guys. Just want to check. I just want to make sure the connections and all that, make sure everything is good here. Oh yeah, we're good. Okay. I tell you what, I'm actually going to keep I'm keeping my streaming window open for the rest of the show. That way, if anything weird kind of goes down, I'm able to see it rather than ask you guys if anything weird is going on there. But that was pretty good. A little match for what it was worth. See, moving along, backstage segment, Damian Priest is with Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle is asking Priest random questions about how do you say this in Spanish, how do you say that in Spanish, and it was a nice setup for Randy Orton. And Randy Orton, before he could even open his mouth, Riddle saying to him, "Hey, dude, just want to apologize for using your finisher last week. I know that's probably a cardinal sin, and I definitely don't blame you for being upset and all that." But Randy cut him off and told him, you know what? You did the move. It's okay. You were able to go in, pick up the dub. Hey, no problem with it whatsoever. Liked what I saw. It's for that reason I actually want you to tag along with me at ringside, and I want you to see what I do and what I do best. So Riddle was actually pretty excited about that. Of course, Riddle's kind of feeling as though, all right, I'm starting to break bread here with Randy Orton. We're finally starting to get to that ultimate place of bonding and all that, but not quite, as he just kept going on and on and on, and then Randy Orton just pretty much told him to zip it and pretty much let's go get her done. Saw a SummerSlam commercial spot. SummerSlam is officially going to be going down August 21st. SummerSlam is going down. And man, I just love the fact that we're definitely most likely going to be getting Cardi B performing at SummerSlam. I am a huge ass Cardi B fan. I look at Cardi B pretty much no different than Foxy Brown, Little Kim, a little bit better than those two girls in some areas, just some areas. I know when I say that, I don't want people, Lee, I'm mad at you, dog. Nah, pump the brakes, right? Takes a real motherfucker to say, hey, I got all of Foxy Brown's albums, even the little mixtapes, and I got all the Lil Kim's joints. That's definitely your boy over here. But nah, I love me some damn Cardi B. That girl is fucking talented as hell, man. She got mad bars, no doubt about that. Mad bars. So the fact that they're going to be doing that now, we still don't know exactly what is going on with WWE SummerSlam as far as the location goes. I mean, all we know right now is the date, and I actually had tried to look up the information for you guys right before coming on air and everything. And yeah, I mean, as far as the venue go, no location as of tonight. No location has yet to be announced. Me personally, if you ask me, what do I hope is most likely gonna happen? Me personally, wishful thinking. I think that considering WWE has been trying to work out some type of a relationship again with New York, particularly with Madison Square Garden, I think honestly, toss them a bone. I would not be that surprised if SummerSlam were to be hosted at MSG. Why not? Why not fucking go there? Why not take advantage of the true ultimate mecca of New York City and all that it has to offer and everything? You want to talk about a significant homecoming for the WWE, all of the rich history and all that. Why not? Why not freaking go there? So I'm hoping that that's going to be the case. If that were to not be the case, then I guess the Barclays Center once again. But I'm really hoping that Madison Square Garden can actually be the place. When you look at everything that's just been happening with New York, respectfully, their numbers are going down. My friends, I definitely have friends that live in the New York area, podcasting friends as well, and everything has just been pretty much going down as far as the COVID numbers and where they are right now in the stages of their reopening process. Everything's pretty much back to normal before COVID. So you're looking at a spot like that, and it's a case right now where you say, well, why not? Why not? But I definitely feel Summerslam is going to be at a East Coast venue. I can just feel it in my bones. It feels like it's either going to be in New Jersey or it's going to be in New York. Could I see potentially Los Angeles? I could definitely see it, because last year's SummerSlam, that was in Florida. The 2019 SummerSlam, that one was in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I think either 2018 or 2017, because remember there was like 2 back-to-back years where SummerSlam was at the Barclays Center. That's the only reason why I'm a little bit hesitant about Barclays this go round, because I just can't help but think about, and yeah, it was 2018, the 2018 edition of SummerSlam, that was at the Barclays Center, and then you had the 2017 SummerSlam, that was at the Barclays Center as well. And then I think when you go back to 2016, I'm almost certain that one, no, they did 3. Shit, I almost forgot. No, they did 3 back-to-back Barclays for 16, 17, and 18. And I just remember how fans were kind of like, okay, already, we need to see them, bring the shit elsewhere and all that, because they were kind of getting a little annoyed. God, I'm thinking 3, but damn, wasn't it 4? I'm almost positive now. It definitely wasn't 5 years in a row. I'm almost positive now that at least for 4 consecutive years, SummerSlam was at the fucking Barclays Center. Yeah, because Cena Brock 2013, 2014, that was in LA. So you know what? Yeah. If the wild card would be it ends up being in Los Angeles. And I know WWE definitely wants to do something with Staples Center and all that. You just know. I mean, you can almost feel it in your bones. You can almost cut it with a knife and all that. But I'm really hoping East Coast, they can definitely work their magic. We'll see what happens. Of course, when they finally do announce the venue, definitely keep you guys posted. But hopefully they have something that'll come together pretty soon, because with it happening in August, I mean, here we are right now. Pretty much May is over. We're going into June. So essentially we got like 2 months and a half to go, and tickets have yet to be put on sale for SummerSlam. You feel where I'm coming from? So just, some stuff to think about right there. Xavier Woods had faced Randy Orton. Pretty good match. Randy Orton picking up the dub. Coming a little bit close there. Randy Orton and Matt Riddle to bonding, as Randy came pretty close to joining Matt Riddle in the pose there, but he didn't do it. He was about to, but then he just pretty much pat Matt Riddle on the back like, good job. I like you, but I'm not quite there just yet. So it's been nice seeing them slowly come together with their whole bonding experience there. I'm loving how this is continuing to play out. It's just a nice, awesome, what is it? Fortuitous event as far as them pairing and all that. I just think it's, talk about all the luck in the world, man. I just think that's pretty badass. Hey, you guys been enjoying the show so far? Hope you have been. Definitely love hearing from you guys. So definitely make sure you show that love when you guys get a chance. Reginald taking on Shayna Baszler. You know, we remember how we pretty much had got here, as we had talked about it on last week's show and all that. One thing I didn't like about this particular match, if you even want to call it that, this was downright freaking sloppy on so many levels. It really was. It was very sloppy. I didn't like this. I honestly, it left me shaking my head. I felt greatly disappointed that Shayna Baszler has been reduced to this. Look, man, I'm happy for anybody that's able to go out there, get the TV time, you know, get that 10, 15 minutes. You know, I'm happy. I'm happy because at least you're getting some type of camera time and all that. At the end of the day, that's pretty much helping your brand awareness and all. And, you know, I'm always thinking and looking at things from a marketing standpoint. So from that, I'm happy for Shayna Baszler. But at the same time, I do care a great deal about quality when it comes to the type of story arcs that she's involved in and everything. And I got to tell you, this has just been leaving a crucial aftertaste in my mouth. And I just found this particular match sloppy, a lot of sloppiness on so many levels. It was downright atrocious, quite honestly, downright atrocious. And I dare believe to say that I think even the most hardcore WWE fan would look at what we had got tonight and say, yeah, you know what? You know, Reginald was cool at first, but yeah, it's about time to kind of maybe go in a different direction here, you know, with Reggie and particularly with Shayna and everything. You know, so we had this weird spot that went down where Shayna Baszler had saw fire explode from one of the turnbuckles. Now, it didn't light her eyes up or anything of that nature, but it definitely took her by surprise. And she tried to then turn back around, focus on the action with Reginald. But by then, Reginald actually locked her up in a roll-up pin and pretty much picked up the 3 count. Even the fucking rollout was sloppy as I don't know what. I thought that the freaking Stone Cold Steve Austin Bret Hart roll-up was something. This has to be maybe, if not number 2, definitely a number 3 in my book. I just was not feeling this whatsoever. And y'all know me, especially if you took a look at my Twitter page from earlier today and also the Facebook page. I did a little bit of spring cleaning as we're pretty much getting ready to hit the road and everything. And I actually had bust out some frames that I have been sitting on for a couple of months. Opened up a box of some photographs that I've been meaning to get framed. I still have tons more to go. I got to get more frames. But one of the pictures that I put up a sweet ass picture of Melina. And I also put up the joint of Shayna Baszler when she was still the NXT champion, both autographed. So I actually had put those up in the Man Cave studio here. I just want to see that Shayna Baszler return. That's all I want. I just want to see that Shayna Baszler return. And to see Reginald pick up the dub, I didn't get too upset. And the only reason why I didn't get too upset was because I felt, okay, this is all about furthering the storyline there with Alexa Bliss. You know, all of this stuff that's happening, Alexa Bliss has been tied to it over what we've been seeing these past couple of weeks. Now the question becomes, how far is Shayna Baszler gonna take her disgruntledness up to Alexa Bliss? Well, sure enough, we would find out on this same episode. I didn't think we were gonna see it until maybe next week's Raw, but Bliss had actually extended an invitation to Reginald to join her on the playhouse or playground or whatever. So Reginald actually went there and everything, and some of the questions that Alexa Bliss was asking, nothing really memorable now, because the segment didn't even last that long. I think Reginald was probably talking to Bliss for about 2 minutes, and then wham, out of nowhere, Shayna Baszler popped up and beat the holy crap out of Reginald. Pretty much beat him silly and off the camera, and she sits on the swing and has a few words with Alexa Bliss and says to her, you and me, we definitely need to have a serious talk, and we're definitely gonna have that talk next week. Now, here's where I have a problem. So you beat the holy crap out of Reginald so that you can get that one-on-one time with Alexa Bliss. Help me out here. Stay with me. This is exactly how it played out. You beat the crap out of Reginald so you could have some personal time, a personal moment there with Alexa Bliss. And then, only to say to Alexa Bliss, pretty much, don't like the fact that you've been poking your nose in my business. You've been costing me some key matches. Tell you what, you and me definitely gonna have a talk. We're gonna have a talk next week. Motherfucker, you got the motherfucker right there. Have your conversation right now. You know how, just really stop and think about that. And look, I don't really think that's the fault of Shayna. I really don't. I really don't. If you're trying to tell me I'm not, I don't think it's even capable to mess up simple lines like you and me next week. I'll see you in the ring. I don't think Shayna is at fault. I think this is just lazy writing. There's a reason why a lot of fans have been so negative on WWE RAW as of late, and that segment was a prime example of that. If this was a case where Shayna Baszler was really supposed to put over the fact that she was challenging Alexa Bliss to a match in the ring next week, then definitely Shayna Baszler would have said what she said and then made sure she homed in on, you and me, we definitely going to hammer this out. We're going to talk about this even more. We're going to do that talking in the ring next week. I'll see your ass in there one-on-one. She definitely, but it didn't go there. It did not go there. Just think about that for a second. If a motherfucker owes you money, you ain't going to be like, hey, I need to talk. You need to talk. Come on. I need to talk to you for a little bit. Yeah, what's going on, dog? Yeah, so, I need to know what's going on with my money that you owe me. Because you owe me some serious fettuccine, yo. But hey, look, I'm going to talk to you about that money. I'm going to talk to you about that money next week. You know what I'm saying? You just told the motherfucker, hey, I need to talk to you. Oh, okay, yeah, what's up? You understand what I'm saying? So for me, I just felt that was very lazy. Just all of that was just really lazy. I just couldn't help but shake my head. Shout out to NXT. It was nice seeing NXT get some love tonight. They got 2 NXT spots there promoting the Johnny Gargano, Kylie O'Reilly, Pete Dunne match, triple threat match, where the winner of that is going to go on to face Karrion Kross for the NXT World Heavyweight Championship at NXT in your house. And if I remember correctly, I believe they said that was going to open up NXT this Tuesday. I believe they said that match was going to open up NXT. So if that's the case, that's a hell of a way to open up your show and everything, because look, we've seen what's been going on with the numbers for NXT and everything, and look, not as bad as what went down with AEW. Did you guys see the ratings there for AEW? Now remember what I have predicted for AEW on TNT. If I'm not mistaken, And I think I might be looking, that might be last week's numbers actually. But I almost want to say, no, it could be. It could be for Friday's numbers. I believe I might have said 879,000 for AEW. I believe I might have said that. I got to actually go back and listen to it. And I'll definitely, I'll let you guys know on social media. I'll definitely let you guys know on social media. But peep this out. Smackdown for this week. This is how all the shows did for last week, numbers-wise. Smackdown, 1.75 million. 1.75 million viewers. That's pretty damn good. Raw did 1.62 million viewers. Okay, not bad. NXT did 698,000. Now that's bad considering they had a couple of championship matches that were on that respected episode. You're going, damn. And you couldn't even stay in the 700,000s? You couldn't even at least crack 750,000? What the hell? But the biggest story was the fact that AEW, for this past Friday, 500,000. 500,000 is what they did for viewers. Look, man, I'm not faulting AEW whatsoever. I'm not faulting them. But seriously, because I honestly felt, you guys recall, I was here on the Friday into the Saturday show, and I put over that episode of AEW Dynamite. I told you guys, this could have been an opportunity where if they wanted to phone it in, they could have phoned it in. And they would have been well within their right to do so. But they did not. And it was live. That was the other thing. It was live. And yet they only did 500,000. 500,000. That's like the lowest period. The lowest period for AEW Dynamite since it was first created. I can only imagine what's going to happen with AEW Dynamite for this Friday. I'm hoping that there is a significant jump by 200,000. I was expecting, and it's kind of coming back to me a little bit. I want to say from last week, I said something along the lines of, if WWE, I humbly apologize. If AEW can get at least about 750,000 viewers for a Friday time slot, all's not lost. That's not bad at all. So, you know, what are we gonna say? What's the excuse? I'm just curious. What is the excuse that AEW diehards are gonna put out there with regards to the ratings for that Friday? What are they gonna say? What is the excuse gonna be? Are we gonna get hit up with, well, see, the problem was that NBA Action was on, and okay, that sounds like an excuse. I'm not being a dick, but that sounds like an excuse, because not for nothing, SmackDown was able to get 1.75 million. 1.75 million. And you want to talk about having a good, strong lead-in as far as your wrestling audience goes and all that. I'm just trying to make sense out of that. You pretty much, your AEW, your product was pretty much coming on immediately after SmackDown. So again, the question is asked, what's the excuse? Why did this happen to AEW? Was there maybe not enough publicity that was going on? You know, was that maybe the case? Was that maybe the case? Some more numbers for you guys. That's a little bit curious. This episode of AEW down 38% from last week's show, which drew 821,000. Okay? 821,000. what's the excuse? What's the excuse? It came on at 10 o'clock after Smackdown. Oh, well, the NBA playoffs and no. Because there was a game on while Smackdown was on that night. I know, because I was watching them. So there really is no excuse right here. If you're AEW, you can't help but find this to be a little bit alarming and say, okay, what can we do to try to ensure that we never see any type of number like that ever again? And quite honestly, it's really simple. It's really simple. You got to do more, and I've said this off and on ever since the deal first materialized of AEW and TNT. I always felt that, especially when it was NBA time, I always felt that there should have been more AEW talents crossing over to inside the NBA, doing the little spots right there where, they're pretty much, trying to tap into that basketball age demographic of fans to try to, help lure them to checking out the AEW product and all that. That's great that you do all the advertising, every single commercial break on your Turner stations for AEW and all that, but you got to do some heavy cross promoting. You got to do more than just those ad slots. So I'm curious what's going to happen coming up this Friday, because Dynamite is going to be on a Friday yet again. Will the fans now be in a position where they go, oh yeah, they're going to be on Friday again, so and are we going to see a significant boost? Is that, the normal numbers that we usually see of Dynamite, is it going to come back, or, is it pretty much going to be relatively the same thing? We'll have to wait and see on that one. T-Bar and Mace taking on the Lucha House Party. If I had my cricket sound effect, I would play that right now. Look, T-Bar and Mace, look pretty damn good, and I got to give mad props to was it Mace? Mace had a pretty ass double elbow drop, looked pretty damn good. Dio Madden looked pretty damn good. Definitely looked pretty damn good. But I personally didn't care about this match. You can do all the video packages all you want for Lucha House Party, and you could tell me that they were once Crips and all this other stuff that's going on. It ain't gonna matter. Like, it is what it is. Didn't care about this matchup. Sheamus putting another challenge out there. This go round, he had faced Ricochet. Humberto Carrillo actually returned the favor from, I think it was either last week or week prior, when Ricochet pretty much did him a solid and everything. So Humberto Carrillo pretty much returning the favor there. This was a damn good matchup, I gotta say. And for me, what really had made this match was seeing Sheamus, who accidentally got hit in the face by Ricochet. He took pretty much an elbow forearm strike to the face, and it just busted Sheamus open, wide up. Wide up. This guy was bleeding so profusely, and you just see the color of his skin. He's got that almost Edward Scissorhands type of skin going on and everything. Blood all over his face, blood dripping down his chest, down to his stomach, on his arms. And man, the visual of that was and it just made you say to yourself yet again, and it reminded you, man, you know what? Say what you will about Sheamus, but that's one tough son of a bitch. That's a good, strong-ass workhorse. Nobody would have blamed Sheamus whatsoever. Not necessarily quitting the match, but, no, anybody would have understood, because, that was a lot of blood. Nobody wouldn't have put it on Sheamus if, oh my God, fella, I need to get this shit checked out. Match is called off due to the blood stoppage or whatever. We all would have understood. But Sheamus just soldiered through that like it was nothing. Like it was freaking nothing. Loved it. I freaking loved it, man. I mean, nice, good. And it was actually, it wasn't Ricochet. It was actually Humberto Carrillo. Humberto Carrillo was the one that did the forearm elbow strike to Sheamus's face. I mean, pretty much right in that nose area. So if you remember that infamous episode of the Brady Bunch, oh, my nose! I mean, and just instant. The nose just started to get nice and swollen. And the blood just, oh, nice crimson. I think for me, that right there, that pretty much had put my man Sheamus in that. Remember, March and April, he was the MVP. I just couldn't help but look at May and go, Sheamus was kind of slipping just a tiny little bit there. He was slipping just a tiny little bit. But you know what? You almost kind of have to give Sheamus the month of May there. Technically, you almost got to give it to him there. It's coming back to me though. When Humberto Carrillo came out and had helped Ricochet there, Ricochet essentially defeated Sheamus via roll up, because of the distraction and all that. And as they were getting ready to go into a commercial break, Sheamus, he just continued to remain pissed off, shouting and all that. And then when we came back from break, it was Sheamus that essentially had challenged. During the commercial break, Sheamus had challenged Humberto Carrillo to a match, while Ricochet pretty much chilled, at ringside looking on and everything. Humberto Carrillo won that, and you kind of go figure and everything. But this, good shit right there. Another Evolution promo. That was you all's opportunity to get your extra lotion ready or whatever. Shelton Benjamin taking on Cedric Alexander. See, did that match happen or was it Dana? No, forgive me. It was actually Dana Brooke, Mandy Rose that teamed up to take on Lana and Naomi, while Tamina and Natty were at ringside on commentary. Gotta say, I was really enjoying the attire, particularly of Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. I mean, that was exceptionally some pretty good. Not a bad match, though. Felt a little bit all over the place. There's a couple of, nice little cool spots and everything. Lana had some good stuff in there. But there was just something overall that was just... I wish I had the right word for it, for you guys. Very weird, because all of those women that were facing each other, for the most part, decent. But there was just something about it that just felt, if I could maybe, something lacking. There was something missing. I wish I could tell you what that one thing was that was really, but yeah. From there, Elias, Riker, they had a few words backstage. Elias was trying to have Riker get his head in check, reminding him about, what all's been going on within recent weeks, wondering if he truly has that fighting spirit, if he's a soldier. And Riker was just continuing to stare off in space until he heard those key words there about, soldier and fighting and all that. And Riker pretty much looked right at Elias and said to him, I know a thing or two, about wars, about fighting. I served in the military, and, and he walked off. But Elias had this shitting grin that started to come on his face. And you're kind of looking at that going, oh, was Elias just kind of healing up there? He was just trying to get Riker in the right mindset so they can pretty much go out there and handle their business? Was this his way of essentially rattling the cage of Riker a little bit there? Well, we'll know in a hot minute, as it was Elias Riker taking on AJ Styles Omos. And Elias revealed his true colors when it counted the most. They did a pretty good job in isolating AJ Styles from getting the tag in there to Omos for most of the match and everything. But when finally AJ was able to tag Omos, and when it counted most, Riker was looking for an opportunity to tag in Elias. Elias jumped off of the top apron there and pretty much made his exit. Riker couldn't believe what the hell he was seeing, trying to wonder, what the hell, why are you gonna be hanging like this, dude? What the hell? And Omos pretty much from there just destroyed the hell out of Riker. Elias was caught up to backstage from one of the interviewers, and he was asked why did he leave Riker high and dry, and he pretty much said Riker is starting to come off very unpredictable, very unstable, and as a result of that makes him pretty dangerous. But that same backstage interviewer pointed out to Elias, well, hey, not for nothing, but remember last week he beat AJ Styles. So, again, understand the point that you're making, but kind of really doesn't make any sense. But Elias continued to double down, and he added more salt to the wound by saying when WWE gets ready to resume going on live tours again, last thing he wants to do is be in a position where he's got to be sharing the same method of transportation with this guy driving from city to city, and he being Riker, that is, being so mentally unstable. He just doesn't want to go through it. Appreciates all the contributions he's made to the country and all that, but from this moment on doesn't want to have anything to do with Riker. And this was pretty much his way of, you hear that and you just can't help but go, so if you essentially want it to be done with Riker, then why not just in storyline, why not just win, lose, or draw? Hey man, this is pretty much it. After this match, we're pretty much done. We're just gonna go our own separate ways. I just don't feel comfortable teaming with you anymore. So it kind of appears that maybe Riker is going to be turned into a babyface here, and he's essentially going to be chasing after Elias. I'm not really sure how to feel about that. I'm really not. For one, Elias, Riker haven't been together that long. There hasn't even been enough built up personalities there. Meshing, if you will, between Riker and Elias. I mean, it's much different compared to the dynamic of Omos and AJ Styles there. So, I think it's going to go over like a wet fart, personally. Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, their match was so goddamn short. I mean, we pretty much got a repeat of what had went down from last week. Pretty much Cedric Alexander going in there with another poke to the eyes there, hits a neutralizer, boom, picks up a dub. Happy to see my boys in Alexander and Shelton, but goddamn, I was expecting to really get a match here. So are we just going to go to the next pay-per-view, and is that maybe where I'm going to be seeing more of these guys in a full-length match? What's the deal? Let's see. Other than that, I think that's pretty much. Oh, Mustafa Ali was backstage chatting it up with the Viking Experience, and he bumped into. Did I say Mansoor? Oh, hopefully I said Mansoor and not Mustafa Ali. Mansoor was chatting it up with the Viking Experience. And then he bumped into Mustafa Ali, and Ali said to him quite simply, hey, you need to be careful with some of these people that you're talking to and everything. I'm just kind of paraphrasing. A lot of these guys, they might try to be your friend and all that, but they got their own prerogatives. They got their own agendas. You need to be very mindful of that. And Mansoor pretty much had turned it on Mustafa and said, and what makes you so different? And Mustafa pretty much said, now you're getting it. Something along those lines. So kind of interesting that we got that little dynamic that's going on there with Ali, who we haven't seen on a regular basis in WWE programming. You know, it's nice to see him back into the fold here once again. Him, I was most interested in trying to figure out, okay, so what's next for him now that pretty much he's no longer the leader of Retribution? You know, what exactly is going on with him? So you can't help but kind of feel as though maybe Mustafa sees a bit of himself and Mansoor from when he first started off, the greenness, the innocence, and that's why he's kind of giving those little breadcrumbs of advice to Mansoor and everything. You know, is this a case where Ali is trying to ultimately recruit Mansoor and, you know, try to start up something new here, and it's essentially going to backfire? And Ali pretty much, I'm telling you, if the pay dirt at the end, you know, as far as the big payoff and all that, if it's the ultimate goal of WWE to have Mansoor feud with Ali, I'm totally down with it. I think those two will definitely tell. I think just their matches alone would be freaking fantastic. See, other than that, oh, by the way, shout out to my girls that were there in the lounge with Bobby Lashley. For the most part, same girls. Definitely the cute little Mexican. I think she's a little Mexican, or maybe she's Pakistani or something like that. I don't know, but a little short girl, black hair. That's all I gotta say. See, other than that, give her a contract, WWE. Other than that, Drew, Kofi, good main event match. Damn good main event match. We kind of teased that match earlier, but I really didn't double down on that one. Good match. I enjoyed it. Drew McIntyre, though, yet again. Look, I like Drew. I got a lot of respect for Drew and everything. Everything that he did last year, pretty much going into this year. I mean, he represented WWE when they really needed for a guy to step up and carry the company on its back and everything. Those were some difficult times, some hard times there. And I'll always remember Drew McIntyre as a result of that. I'll remember his title reign as a result of that. It's sad that I'll remember his reign as a result of that, and not so much about the matches that he's had as champion and everything. And Drew McIntyre has a lot of fans, but fans have already gotten to that point. They're tired of Drew and Lashley. They want to see new feuds. They want to see new story arcs develop and everything. And, you know, the one thing that I thought was a little bit interesting that was almost on the whisper tonight. There's only a few of us that were, interesting. Take it for what it's worth. Take it for what it's worth. But I thought it was kind of interesting that throughout the night, there was at least about 3 Brock Lesnar mentions. And it just kind of got my brain going. Maybe Brock is pretty close to coming back. And with WWE getting ready to go live and all that, is it possible that Brock could be showing up in July? You know, if you watched Raw tonight, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There was a couple of little Easter egg nods there to Brock Lesnar that just kind of, if you missed it, you're kind of like, you really got to go back and you got to home in on it and everything. I know the last little Brock Lesnar Easter egg there was when Kofi Kingston responded to McIntyre, you know, pretty much carrying him, talking about that very short title reign and everything that he had. And look at the guy that defeated him, and that's where you got your Brock nod right there and everything. So I thought that was kind of, you know, and there was a couple of more prior to that we heard throughout the night. So I don't know if Brock is getting ready to come back. Can't come soon enough because I personally want to see my man lock it up with Lashley. Lashley, Lesnar, SummerSlam. I've been wanting that match for so long. I don't even know what episode I began talking about that match. For all I know, it might have been on the WrestleMania post show. For all I know, or it might have been a little bit before that. For all I know. But I've been wanting to see that for a minute now. I've been wanting to see it for a couple of years. So hopefully we're at least going to definitely get to that point. But yeah, WWE RAW, about 10 matches overall tonight. Technically 8 when you really kind of stop and think about it. But pretty decent episode overall, I have to say. I would have to say. Hey, at least we were in and out, and it wasn't as long and lengthy as what went down with AEW's pay-per-view last night. By the way, shout out to those of you that had checked out the post-show. By the way, keeping me company live and all that, because we came on live at... What time was that? We came on live at pretty much midnight. Yeah, we came on live at midnight, and we didn't go off the air, I don't think, until... I don't think we went off the air until sometime a little bit after 2 in the morning. So definitely appreciate you guys that had checked out that joint live. I saw there was actually a couple of you guys that watched my post-show live after you were done watching the pay-per-view. So definitely mad respect. Even saw there was a few of you guys that were very curious about the pay-per-view that had tuned in just to hear what I had to say about the pay-per-view and all that. And just to go back to the polling results one more time for Double or Nothing, over on our communities tab at the RCWR show, besides the awesome Memorial Day dinner you could see on the community page there. I love interacting with you guys on the community page, man. Now, look, don't think for 1 second just because I'm going to be on vacation for these next 2 weeks, I'm just going to be totally ice cold from social media. I'll be posting some stuff here and there for sure. So as long as you're connected on the social media pages, you'll definitely know what's going on. But one more time to the polling results here. We asked you guys, how would you rate Double or Nothing? And 10% of you said, dude, the length of the pay-per-view, good God, I tuned out. 10% of you voted for that. 23% of you gave the pay-per-view a thumbs down. And overwhelmingly, 67% of you all gave the event a thumbs up. Now, I'm curious where things stand via Twitter. Let's see where things stand via Twitter. Twitter at the RCWR show, you guys said... where are you? Here we are. 22.7%. Dude, the length. Oof. Nobody voted for thumbs down. An overwhelming 77.3% of you gave it a thumbs up. Appreciate those of you that cast your votes there. Much love, much love. We'll get to Ultimate Warrior in a hot minute. Definitely going to talk about those documentaries as we're pretty close to wrapping up the show for now at least and everything. By the way, you guys been enjoying yourselves so far. Make sure if you haven't done so already, show the ultimate support and hit the like, subscribe, click that bell so you always know about new content coming your way on a regular basis. Shout out to our Patreon familia, patreon.com/RCWR show. Check out bonus audio video content. Won't be able to find anywhere else. Shout out to our Patreon familia. Y'all know exactly who you are. Much love as always. AEW news. Actually, right before AEW news, did you guys hear there's a report floating around that Molly Holly is potentially one of the newest backstage producers for matches and all that. Matter of fact, tonight, supposedly, she was, oh, hey, my light source went out. Hang on real quick. I can multitask here. But apparently Molly Holly was backstage at Raw tonight as she was in a backstage role as a producer of some of the matches. And if that's the case, if she had got a tryout and all of that, then I think that's good. Honestly, when you just look at individuals that's come and gone in WWE over the years and really home in on, okay, well, who hasn't been in the headlines for bad press? Who hasn't done a DUI? Who hasn't done this? Who hasn't done that? And Molly Holly is definitely right there at the top of the list. So, hey, look, if it's a case where I'm definitely happy for Molly Holly, I'm definitely happy for her. Kind of odd, if you ask me personally. It's a little bit odd because I think about Victoria. And look, all due respect, at least we now know exactly where Mickie James is, headspace wise, because Mickie James, she felt that there was a lot more to her career, and it was put on her, that idea of being a backstage producer, trainer and all that good stuff, but she isn't ready to do that just yet. And I don't blame her. If she feels it's a case where, no, you know what, I still got about 5, 7, 10 years left in me to do the stuff in the ring before I even do stuff like that, more power to her and all that. But I'm surprised that they didn't go in a direction of a Victoria. Trish Stratus's kids are still relatively young, so you can pretty much forget about that. For me, in a perfect world, I wish that, there's one woman that stands out in my mind that WWE just overall, they did her wrong. And I pay attention to a lot of the things that she's talked about over the years when she's done interviews, and definitely at a later date, I'm definitely going to try to see if we can have her on the show and everything. And that's Jazz. I know Jazz has been very vocal about some of the stuff that's been happening in WWE, and not for nothing, but on the 2 shows that we had JTG on as a guest, credit needs to be given where credit is given. I was essentially, the first real podcaster to really bring to the forefront about, okay, let's talk about this bullshit that's going on with race in the WWE, and if there truly is discrimination that's going on and everything. And I was definitely among the first to really, because I just remember how when I was coming up, because I've been at this since 2011, and just a lot of fluff questions, out there, a lot of fluff. And the 2 conversations, that we had with JTG and everything, it was funny because once I opened up that Pandora's box and all the other podcasts read the transcript, listened to that interview, all of a sudden they had to kind of have their little, moment as well, and all that. And and I'm glad that I was the one that essentially got the ball rolling. So, it's like, you're welcome. And that's not me being a mark for myself or sucking my own dick. I'm just stating the fact. But I know Jazz has been very vocal about, race relations, particularly in the WWE. I know a lot of people, for the longest time, right type of circumstances, they always wanted for her to somehow end up in the WWE. And over the years, she would say, hey, as cool as that would be, just don't see it happening, blah this, blah that. You would have thought that with the Evolution pay-per-view that was coming about years back, maybe they would have tried, but no olive branch was extended, nothing like that. I look at women like Jazz, the Southern Belle, Miss Jacqueline, I look at them particularly and all the contributions that they've made as a whole to the sport of professional wrestling. And I just say, man, you want to talk about some sisters that's got years of great experience, knowledge, and all that, and can definitely, get the next generation of women, right up there and everything. These are definitely the ones you want to have in the back as your coaches and all that. I'm just really surprised that they weren't given those type of olive branches. You feel where I'm coming from? So, no shade to Molly Holly. Molly Holly, always been a sweetheart, always a true professional, and she found Jesus now and all that. So, she's got the whole Mormon thing and all going on, wish for nothing but the best, but that's just kind of where I stand with regards to that. So, get into some AEW news. So, one thing that we didn't talk about with regards to AEW, there's two pieces of big news that had came out for AEW. First of all, All Out. All Out is going to be returning to the Now Arena, formerly known as the Sears Center, on September 5th. Remember, this is going to be their first time back at that particular arena since 2018's All In event. Remember, in 2020, they were supposed to do a little something, but when the pandemic hit and all that, pretty much had scrapped that. So that's going to be going down. And it's, I like how they try to say Chicago, but when you just look on Google Maps and you just really, or a map, and you just look at where it is, Chicago, it's actually not in Chicago at all. And I would imagine Pro Wrestling Tees is going to have a busy freaking weekend. All out, or all in, all out, all everywhere, all joy. They're going to be busy. They are going to be busy. I wouldn't be surprised if they really got things started, man, all week long. I wouldn't be surprised if every single day of the week they decided to do something cool at that Pro Wrestling Tees store. Look, if you are asking me straight up, well, Lee, do you see yourself doing something? Do you see yourself maybe going up to Chicago in September and, maybe possibly doing the All Out event? I don't really know. I think first of all, it would have to be, okay, well, who can hook me up with press passes? Because if I could get a press pass, I'm not saying I want to see Double or Nothing for free. I'm not saying that. I have no problem paying for a Double or Nothing ticket. But as far as being a member of the press, because I am, and I've done a very good job, have a really good portfolio of good solid work I've done over the years and everything, reporting on different things. So I definitely would go on the condition I was definitely able to get some type of press credentials and all that. There's already a little bit of loose talk going on amongst some of us as far as, this looks kind of okay, let's see what happens. So it's still in the early phases right now. I'll let you guys know, but at this point, nothing's official just yet. Nothing has really materialized just yet. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. And then the other thing that I got to think about is I've got classes in the fall, because my goal is to be taking about 4 to 5 classes that semester. So, I got to make sure that as far as the tuition, I got to make sure I have the money for all of that, book materials, because I think my classes would start up, if not late September, I think my classes would start in early October. So it's kind of one of those, okay, do I really want to do this knowing I got to turn right back around and I got to do my classes? So I'm also kind of thinking about that as well. It's still early. I think first things first, see what's going on with the prices, get an idea who's going to be going, What are they thinking about as far as travel accommodations, sleeping arrangements and all that, and kind of go from there. But I am interested. And then the other thing that AEW had noted, I'll keep you guys posted, don't worry. The other thing AEW had noted was Full Gear. Full Gear is going to be returning to the St. Louis, Missouri area on November 6th. So, also Tony Khan said in a recent interview that with regards to AEW Dark and Elevation, he noted how a lot of fans right now, they're probably used to seeing the 14, 15 matches, and that's pretty much been a 2+ hour show as a result. And that's mainly because they haven't been touring. Well, once AEW starts touring again, that's going to change drastically. So pretty much the days of 14 to 15 minute matches, that's pretty much going to be a done deal, because he's promising that they're going to be trimming back on the total number of matches, and they're also going to be trimming on the duration of the shows and all that. So probably a good thing. Less is better. He also tried to put over the fact that there's a lot of talents between Elevation and Dark that need to be signed, and eventually we're going to be seeing on Dynamite on a regular basis and on the new Rampage show. But my God, there's only but so much talent you can keep, right? There's only but so much you can keep, man. Have to wait and see how that plays out. Don Callis was talked about as well. Pretty much Don Callis, per Tony Khan, Don Callis, the management role that he had at Impact, he's pretty much done. He's been working in his new role, his new capacity with AEW for a little while now, and pretty much how much of a great help that he's been and all. But, when you hear all of that, you just can't help but go, man. So the way, I can't believe I got to go there, but just really stop and think about that. It's like, you got this nice, good woman. She's doing you right. She's treating you well. She's putting money in your pocket. She loves you unconditionally. Anything you want, you got it. Anything you need, you got it. Baby, you got it. Little Roy Orbison for you guys. Know your music. And then this other girl just comes along. Okay, she's got a cute face, she's got big tits, and she's got a nice, nice hips and all that. And you just pretty much jump on that. It's like, yeah, but she's damaged goods. Yeah, but she's so hot. That's kind of how I look at Don Callis there, where, the good faithful woman was Impact, and the unstable and all that, but hot looking chick, the AEW, it just, man, just the optics, it just looks so, I know I mentioned him a couple of weeks ago, but it just reminds me of one of my all-time favorite movies, man, in fucking Carlito's Way. And you remember that shit? You remember that? Benny Blanco. Fucking Benny Blanco. Hey man, who's that? What's my man's name? I'll try to think. What's my man's name? Louise. Oh shit, what's his name? Louise. The last name will come to me in a hot second, man. But that motherfucker. You want to talk about somebody? Louise Guzman. Yeah, Louise Guzman. You look at the fucking traitor piece of shit that he was there. I look at Don Callis as Louise Guzman, and he just says to freaking Carlito, "Hey, Carlito, man. Hey, man, nothing personal, man, but all about the money, man. You gotta move up. You gotta do what you gotta do, man. Ain't nothing, man. Nothing personal. You feel me, man? Nothing personal. I love you. Have great respect for you, man. It's just business." And then fucking Benny Blanco fucking popped Guzman as well. That's how I look at fucking Don Callis in this, man. It just the optics. I'm sure that most likely, what really had went down was probably contract, was about to expire, and maybe it was a case of, okay, look, I want to continue to kind of, help you guys out a little bit as I can, but I'm ready to make the transition over here into this and all that, and pretty much the rest is history, basically. All right, so, real quick, some non-wrestling related news for you guys. The HBO Max Green Lantern series that's supposed to be happening really soon, they're supposed to begin doing principal photography and filming in September. Got a little bit of an idea now of what this series is gonna be about, and it sounds pretty cool. So for those of you that were maybe wondering, okay, so is it gonna be following Hal Jordan? No, it's not gonna be following Hal Jordan. I know another thing that had a lot of you guys going, well, what about Jon Stewart? That was the main, Green Lantern, Jon Stewart, especially if you saw Arrow and you watched the series finale of Arrow, you saw how all of that ended and everything, and a lot of people were hoping that that respected actor would maybe go on and, he'd be the Green Lantern for the HBO Max series. It doesn't look like for this series, at least not right now, doesn't look like they're going to even be having Jon Stewart as a regular. I don't know if Jon Stewart is going to appear at all, but the focal point right now is going to be on Guy Gardner, everybody's most beloved Green Lantern. If you're not a Jon Stewart Green Lantern fan, then you're probably a Guy Gardner Green Lantern fan. If I were to describe Guy Gardner Green Lantern, if you've watched any episodes of Cobra Kai, he's kind of like Johnny, so to speak. He kind of has a Johnny Lobo type of vibe going on about him. So this Green Lantern series is going to follow the lives of Guy Gardner and the Alan Scott Green Lantern. And what's really interesting about this, look particularly at the eras of those respected Green Lanterns, especially if you were a big comic book fan and all that. The Alan Scott Green Lantern, we know that's like pretty much Silver Age, so to speak. That's pretty much 1940s. Whereas Guy Gardner Green Lantern, that's pretty much, we're talking 80s. And that's pretty much where those stories are going to kind of, I can't wait to check this out because I'm a little bit curious how the 40s and the 80s, how they're like going to fuse together and really kind of set up the present basically. But that's supposedly what's going to be happening with that series. And as I said a few seconds ago, principal photography filming is supposed to begin this September. I'll continue to keep you guys posted on that one. And there was one other thing I had wanted to bring to you guys' attention that was non-wrestling related, but it's escaping me right now. I know I told you guys about the Joker sequel already. There's a green light for that. Spider-Man. Yeah. I read something about the Spider-Man sequel that's going to be dropping later this year in December. I was reading that there was a rumor going around that Emma Stone was possibly going to be resurrecting her Gwen Stacy role. But the way she pretty much addressed it in a recent interview, she said, honestly, I'm not really sure how to answer these type of questions, but I don't have anything to do with the next phase of the Marvel movies, whatever is supposed to be happening with this Spider-Man movie. I don't have anything to do with them. And even if I did have something to do with them, I wouldn't even be telling you guys. But yeah, like I really don't know how to be answering these type of questions, but what I'm supposed to be saying and all that, but I don't have anything to do with the next Spider-Man movie that's getting ready to come out. So take that for what it's worth, but also remember at the same time, okay, well, why is that such a big deal? Well, remember all the people that's supposed to be lined up for this new Spider-Man movie that's supposed to be coming up. I mean, we got Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Doctor Strange. He's supposed to be popping up in there. We got, of course, Tom Holland. He's going to be doing his thing. Also, Alfred Molina, who is Doc Ock. Jamie Foxx, who's that bad Electro villain in that one Amazing Spider-Man 2 sequel. All of these guys are supposed to be showing up in this new Spider-Man movie that's going to be released. Spider-Man No Way Home. It's supposed to be coming out December 17th this year. All of this is pretty much tied into pretty much setting up the next Spider-Verse 2 movie, but also setting up the next Doctor Strange movie and all that, and that next phase of Marvel and all that. So keep your eyes kind of posted on that. I can't wait to see how that movie is going to play out. I'm extremely excited for it, and I'm just particularly happy that Marvel Studios, Sony Pictures was able to work this deal out with Spider-Man, and they're continuing to have this great relationship that they're able to have. All right, so let's talk Ultimate Warrior, shall we? Let's go ahead. Let's talk Ultimate Warrior, and then at that point, we're pretty much going to be done. I'm looking at the recorder right now, and we've done about almost an hour, 47 minutes of showtime. So I did watch the Dark Side of the Ring, Becoming Warrior, and I did watch the A&E Biography of Ultimate Warrior. I would recommend to you guys off the break, for those of you that maybe sat out, you didn't watch either of them yet, and you're trying to figure out which one should you watch, which one should you dodge, which one was more transparent, had more accuracy. What I can tell you guys straight up, just honestly, watch both. You have to watch both, because there are very similar stories that are touched upon, but WWE puts a nice little blanket, and that's WWE for you, because they do a magnificent job of trying to spin the narrative and really don't want to go for the jugular and go for the cold hard facts, that ugly truth. Whereas Dark Side of the Ring just takes that blanket off. They reveal that shit. They go all in. They help you understand all the points of view of, okay, this is how this ended up the way that it did and everything. And it's just one of those. I would say watch both of them, though. Watch both of them, because then you really come away having the complete picture. For example, you look at the A&E, and in the order as far as which one you should watch the A&E one first, and then assuming that you got a whole day to yourself, you're relaxing and everything, I would watch the A&E one first, and then just jump immediately into the Dark Side. That way it's all fresh, the information, it's all fresh in your head, and you can pretty much just go boom, 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 boom. I don't even need notes for this one. All the notes that I had, pretty much was for Raw, the whole Thunderdome experience and all that. But for this one, I don't need any notes, because I have followed the career of Ultimate Warrior for many, many years. You guys see I'm wearing an Ultimate Warrior shirt. He was part of my childhood. I definitely cringe like a motherfucker at his conservative views, right-wing views, whatever you want to call them. I thought that the shit that he put out there, extremely, what the fuck, dude? What the fuck is wrong with you? I remember the videos. I remember all of that. I remember all of that shit. Those kids that he had, it really freaking humbled him. Dana Warrior, to a degree, humbled him as well. Really shook him up and had him, kind of had him change his outlook on life and all that. And you just hear about, and that's the thing that doesn't get talked about enough with Warrior, is the fact that before he died, This man was just old rivalries, past beefs. He was doing everything in his power to just squash all of that. He got to a place of tranquility. When you've been a tortured soul for so long, when you've had, a particular outlook on life for so long, yeah, somebody can tell you exactly what you need to do, how you need to be looking at things, but some people need to crash and burn. Some people need to learn the hard way and fall flat on their face before they come to the realization and have their come to Jesus moment of, man, how totally wrong they were and everything. And that's the one thing, you pick it up really well in the Dark Side of the Ring episode when Warrior's first wife told that passionate story about how they had continued to be friends. Her and Jim Hellwig, they had continued to be friends even after they had got their divorce and everything. And I believe she was married to him for about almost 12 years. She was almost married to him for about almost 12 years. And she talked about how, they had got to a point in their life where when he had that gym in Arizona and all that, he was dating people, she was dating people. They both met their significant others at the gym. Those same significant others, they went on to marry those significant others, and got to the point where first wife had kids. Jim Hellwig, had his kids, and it got to a situation where Hellwig says to his first wife, hey, I just think that for the strength and health of our new relationships, marriages and all, we should stop seeing each other because it's going to put our respected new spouses in a really bad position where we really shouldn't put them in that position. We really shouldn't have them be uncomfortable like that. So we really should stop all communications. But the way he went about it and the grace and class that he put into it by saying to her, hey, look, I just want you to know that, and I'm paraphrasing here, but for him to admit that he was a real piece of shit when he was married to her, the cheating, sleeping around on her and all of that, he did her wrong, and he apologized profusely of how much he had failed her as a husband, and that he was really happy to see she was able to move on with her life to the point of not only getting remarried, but also having kids, even saying to her, you're going to be a phenomenal mom. I know it. And that was their last conversation, and an emotional conversation. And you could see, and this is the first wife. Yet again, I'm talking about the first wife. Here it is, 7 years since his death. She's remarried and all that, has kids and all that. And she teared up. I mean, she bawled out a couple of times during this Dark Side episode. And you just go, wow, it's still emotional. It's still pretty raw for her and all that. And, my heart really went out to her as far as how she had to find out about Jim Hellwig dying. The way she had to find out about him dying, she didn't get to hear about it from, a family member of Jim Hellwig. She pretty much had to hear about it from a friend that, essentially saw it on the news or whatever. And that's how she had to find out years later. Like, wow, that's just, that's just, even if you no longer communicate with them, if that person meant a lot to you in your life, and there was a lot of, good memories and all that other shit, you're not just gonna stop. I don't care what anybody will tell you, especially you younger cats out there. You're not gonna just, no, you're not just, oh man, sorry to hear that. Pass the French fries. You're if you had a lot of good moments with that person, a lot of good times and everything, and that bond was so tight and so special, whether it's 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and you just hear all of a sudden they fucking died, you're gonna be feeling that without a shadow of a doubt. So I definitely, my heart went out to her from that standpoint. You know, Dana Warrior tried to bury the hell out of this Dark Side of the Ring episode. She talked about how, you know, she didn't work with them. She pretty much had refused to work with them. She looked at this as smut and filth and all that. And when you heard that, you couldn't help but say to yourself, well, where exactly are they going to be going with this episode? Now the curiosity is even high. And I've pretty much been with Darkseid since episode 1. I've had the guys on the show a couple of times and everything, chatting it up with them and all. So I definitely was on more heightened alert about this episode, and okay, let's see what's going on here. You know, I was looking for the first wife to just epically bury the hell out of Warrior. She didn't do that. She did not do that whatsoever. Some of what she said definitely matches up to what Dana was talking about, to what Warrior's mom was talking about, as well as far as Jim Hellwig's upbringings, father abandoning him, and, all it being insecure, all of that had matched up, very, very accurately. So they both definitely were on that same page. Definitely were on that same page. The stuff that went down with Sherry Tyree, the first wife, by the way, Sherry Tyree. The shit with Warrior and the infamous WWE exit, that first go round. You watch the A&E biography, just the way they had pretty much put a blanket over that. I mean, they pretty much, Warrior and Vince had a disagreement, and I mean, just the way they just kind of try to blanket, it was a lot more than just that. Darkseid really just fucking opened that motherfucker up, and they fucking went in there to learn that Sherry actually had a role during that period of time, not as an advocate for, go ahead, you send that fucking shit to Vince McMahon, and you tell him she tried, and this was long after they had got the divorce and all that, and they were on speaking terms, they were friends and everything. She tried to get Jim to not fucking go there with the paperwork, because she felt he was gonna commit career suicide. He didn't listen to her though, and you pretty much had saw how it all had panned out. Jim Cornette, when you see Jim Cornette in this, you just think that he's real salty, that he has a real fucking hard on for Jim Hellwig and everything, but you understand from Jim where he was coming from. Jim pretty much, his whole thing was, the guy's got the looks, he's got the energy and everything, but he can't wrestle worth a damn. He thinks that his shit don't stink. He thinks that everybody owed him the entire fucking world. And so you understand exactly where Jim was coming from. And, safe to say that Jim did not sadly get to meet the other Jim, and whatever past transgressions get settled and all that. For you Jake the Snake Roberts fans out there, something that A&E did not cover, that was covered in great detail. I never even knew this. So heard rumblings, and I used to always wonder what was going on there with Jake the Snake Roberts' WWF World Title run. How come it never really happened? And you guys got to understand, if Jake Roberts commented on it in previous years and everything, I tuned out, because there was actually a period in time where I had refused to listen to Jake Roberts interviews because long time ago, for you newer listeners, sorry to the veteran listeners out there, but for you newer listeners out there, I think it was maybe back in 2013 or 2014. Feels more like 2013. We had worked with Jake Roberts' people, and we actually were able to get him on the show. And at this point, I was about barely 3, maybe almost 4 years into the podcasting game. And if there was one interview in the history of interviews, if there was one interview where, oh man, Lee's coming off like a mark, it was my interview with Jake Roberts. I was not only intimidated by Jake Roberts, but I was so, oh my God, it's Jake Roberts. It was like the one time I fucking, you would have thought that with Bruno, you know, maybe I would have went there. Nah, cool as a cucumber when it came to Bruno Sammartino. I don't know what it was. I really couldn't tell you. But at that point, I still was relatively new to doing interviews still and all that. But that one, I just remember being so damn nervous. I remember being so fucking hyped and everything. And my nerves just would not settle. Tams will tell you, my nerves just would not fucking settle. And I fumbled so much during that interview. It may be kind of hard to pick up right here, but I remember on those earlier shows, sometimes I would struggle to speak, and I would particularly struggle to speak when I would have such great excitement in my voice and be nervous at the same time because I was talking to, in the case of Jake Roberts, and I could barely fucking control it. And it was so irritating. And I just remember I tried to tread lightly with this interview with Jake Roberts because as I was speaking to the person that was, handling all media requests for Jake Roberts and everything, and this had came during a time when he first was doing the whole DDP stuff. It was right around that period. And I think there might have been 2, maybe 3 times that Jake Roberts may have left DDP Yoga. It's been so long ago. You guys that got sharper, better memories than me, you can kind of connect the dots better, and you may remember it differently. So please correct me if I'm wrong in any way. But when that interview was on and about, I just remember the number one thing, the most I remember, my question setups were very long-winded. And Jake was cutting me off repeatedly. He sounded as though he either had something to drink that he shouldn't have been drinking, because at that point there should have been like a zero, because he was at DDP Yoga and all that. He was doing DDP Yoga and staying with DDP at his house and all that, if I remember it right. But he sounded like he was either having some stuff to drink or he had taken way too many or whatever medication. As long as I had been conducting interviews during that time and since that time, it was the worst interview of all time. It wasn't my finest moment. It was not Jake Roberts' finest moment. I remember playing that audio back, trying to figure out if there was any type of way I could save it. I mean, we went knee deep into some topics, but I could tell at that particular point in time, Jake Roberts, he was still pretty well guarded, very sharp at the tongue. If there was something particular he was not really trying to talk about, I could hear how agitated he was. I could hear the anger, and it was like, oof, So you can kind of understand why I was nervous and, you know, all of that stuff combined. And what originally was supposed to be a 45-minute interview, it ended after about 10 minutes, believe it or not. It ended after I made it in after about 10 minutes. And I remember being so livid, so pissed off. I got in contact with Jake's people and I'm like, what the fuck was going on? I'm like, what happened with Jake? Like, this isn't the Jake Roberts I've been seeing floating around on social media and the videos and all that. And I was like, well, you know, what the hell's going on? And I told him about the interview. And I said, look, if you want to listen to the audio, I have the audio. But, like, this interview was off the rails. It's like, you know, and at that point, even though I was still relatively young in my podcasting career, at that point, I had enough of a good portfolio. No, this guy knows how to handle interviews. He's pretty good. Like, what's going on here? And the guy told me, he's like, you know, I'm so sorry about that. Jake is just, you know, having a really bad day. He had a little bit of a slight relapse. So sorry about that. But you know, we can try to make it up to you. You know, he you know, told me what was going on there. He wants to apologize to you, but we want to make this right. And I never, to this day, that's the one interview, you know, once in a while I'll have somebody say, you know, will you ever get Jake on? I was like, I don't know. That's probably as old as I am now. You know, I began this when I was 30, going on 31. I'm now 40. I don't see myself. That's probably the one interview I'm still a little bit intimidated. How about that? Very seldom will something get under my skin. You know, I got haters out there. I'll get all kinds of bullshit. Man, that bounces off. I'm not even thinking about that. You know my old saying, if it's not about positivity, I just tune that out. But that's still my one vice. That's still my one kryptonite to this very day. So yeah, I tuned out Jake Roberts' stuff for a while after that. And so to hear that part on Dark Side of the Ring where he spoke about he was next in line to become the WWF champion or the World Heavyweight champion. You're like, wait, what? But first things first, and apparently this conversation that he had with Vince McMahon, he had to first go talk to Warrior, make sure everything was on the up and up, everything was good. And Jake just thought that was the most stupidest fucking thing because it's like, Vince, this is your fucking company. What do you mean I gotta go talk to Warrior and make sure it's okay with him? And Vince was like, please look, go talk to Warrior. And Warrior just carried oh my God. You talk about unprofessional to the extreme and just all of that shit. And Jake left out of Warrior's locker room so pissed off, not having any respect for Warrior whatsoever. And then when it came to, the big night, and Jake Roberts thought he was gonna, get his moment and everything, and shit just fucking exploded. Y'all pretty much know the rest of the history. And as Jake Roberts had put it, Vince McMahon looked at Jake Roberts and said, you have got some of the shittiest luck. Right? Because you're like, oh, poor Jake. But he held such animosity, such venom in his heart because of that incident for so long that first opportunity he had, he wanted to deck the living hell out of Warrior. And when it came time to that 2014 Hall of Fame, y'all know the infamous story. He had a roll of quarters, and he was ready. He was ready. All of a sudden, he felt a hand on his shoulder and turned around, and there's Warrior, and Warrior just apologized to him, and it was like a piece of calm just came over Jake, and all was forgiven. All was forgiven. Sure, you hear the stuff about, Hulk Hogan and, I made peace with him. I saw him just before I went to the grocery store the other day, brother, and all that other shit. But of all the people, besides Warrior's first wife, besides her, Jake Roberts was definitely another one. Besides Sherry, Jake Roberts was definitely another one that took that death of Warrior personal, and you could tell. I mean, you just read it all over his face and everything. You're like, ooh. But they did a better job really going over Warrior and really highlighting the fact that Warrior had a lot of fun doing the Ultimate Warrior, because he would do these promos that, a lot of people, what the fuck? He would have fun at his own expense, just putting a whole bunch of shit together. And afterwards, what the hell did I say? Because he relied on Sherry a lot to not only check out his matches, but check out his promos, the good, the bad, and all of that shit and everything. So, I mean, she was, I won't say instrumental, but she definitely was right there in the ditches with him and everything. So you definitely had learned a lot more about him from the dark side, especially when it came to his exit from the WWE, that first go round, and then that page in WCW, they pretty much just kind of, dark side that is, they pretty much just really leaped over that. Yeah, they really did. They looked at the second go round when he came back to the WWE, that period where he took on Hunter Hearst Helmsley. That had rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Now, you really learned the behind the scenes shit on what was going on there with Warrior that second go round. Vince actually did not want to bring Warrior in, and at that point Jim Cornette was with the company, so he actually was in on the meeting there with Vince McMahon, Jim Ross, and Warrior. I forgot the word that was used, man. Distressity or whatever the fuck that word was. He was trying to make this be a thing, and basically he was picturing himself to be this over the top real life superhero, this motivational superhero for the little kids and all that. And Jim Ross, it was funny as shit, because he comes in there talking about how, of all the moments in his wrestling career, that was a particular moment he wishes he could have back, because his time was wasted. Because Warrior just in that meeting just kept going on and on about this distressicity or whatever the fuck that word was, man. And these comic books, that was the other thing, the Warrior comic books. I think everybody that was a wrestling fan way back then remembers those Warrior comics. And I'm not gonna fucking lie to you guys, I remember collecting the first handful of those Warrior comics. I remember collecting the first 5 Warrior comics, man. And we're talking about me as a comic book collector way back then. I was big into my comic books, man. And if I felt that something might have been a collectible, I was on top of it. And so, I mean, I thought the artwork for the Warrior comics were pretty good, but I felt that the story was shit. And my whole thing was, I was the type of comic book fan, man, anything can, you give me a really good story, I can definitely get behind it. I'm fucking there. I'll read pretty much any and everything you throw at me if it's really, really good. And I remember when it came to that Warrior comic book, I just remember going, well, good artwork, but nah, I'm good. And he was trying to get these comics, as part of this whole deal. He was trying to, and man, they originally had walked away from that interview like, okay, we're done. But then Vince kind of changed his mind, and rest is pretty much history. But after that shit went down with Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Triple H, I'm trying to say Hunter Hearst Helmsley 10 times fast. After that match with Triple H, which really pissed off Jim Cornette, because kind of at that point, there were plans for Triple H back then. And Jim at least, he did not like the way Warrior was no-selling like a mofo to Triple H's moves and all that. And ultimately Vince decided, okay, yeah, you know what, we're just going to be done with this. We don't need to fucking go there. We're done. You know, it's interesting because they sadly, they did not cover the Dark Side of the Ring. They did not cover the Warrior DVD. Now, that is the one great advantage that the A&E special did have. I mean, they really dedicated a nice portion of that self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior. They really went there. And I thought it was good that, they went there and talked about how much of a profound impact that it had on Warrior, even to the point the day of his induction. The limos, they're filming stuff and all that for probably will ultimately be, his DVD and all that. He was still emotionally hurt about that and everything. Dark Side of the Ring did not cover that. I mean, it was definitely a case where, if you really, really just kind of take a step back and think about it, yeah, sure, WWE tried to give you the whole complete picture, the complete biography of Warrior, whereas Dark Side of the Ring, I thought the title was proper etiquette, the whole becoming Warrior. I thought that was very fitting and all of that. For the hour that the Dark Side crew put in there, I would say, they really try to do a good job in homing in on early Warrior. That was really the main focal point. They took you through all of the same steps, essentially, as it was for the A&E biography. And they had a couple of little pivots, some of what we kind of talked about here and there and everything. But, it felt as though in the areas where they were lacking, WWE's A&E biography picked right up. The steroid scandal. Warrior coming back smaller, and then, all the problems that he was having every single time he would, check in, okay, these are the medicines that I'm taking, and it upped like every month or whatever, however many months it was until they had to do the next check-in, hey, you got any weird shit in your body? And it was more, so I would say watch both of them, but also at the same time, if you are a very curious mind, definitely at your own accord, read up on some stuff. Read up on him at your own leisure, collect even more information. Definitely go out of your way to read that 28-page. Was it a 28-page? I think it was a 28-page fucking letter that Ultimate Warrior had fucking did for Vince McMahon. And I think I did it on a show. I won't say it was the entire show, but I remember at some point over the years, I looked at that letter to WWE, and I don't know why I'm thinking 28-page. I don't know why I'm thinking that, but it was a 1991 letter. And just real quick, because it's gonna bother me as we get ready to wrap up here. I don't know why I'm thinking 28-page. I don't know why that's in my head. Let me see here. What I'm pulling up right now, it looks like it's 4 pages. And for those of you that don't know, the fucking letter was just basically, that was like the final straw. It was just all these fucking demands that he wanted. He pretty much wanted to get the Hulk Hogan treatment, money, all that fucking shit. Let me see. I know this isn't it. I definitely know this isn't it, because this is saying 1 minute read. Let me see here. I don't know why I was thinking 28 pages for some reason. I don't know if because there's been some things that's been exaggerated greatly about the Warrior over the years and shit. And I think that letter thing might have been one of those. But I remember there was like a multiple page letter that Warrior had for Vince. Why did I get 28 pages though? That's gonna bother me now. It's like, where did I get 28 pages from? Is that something I heard over the years? But yeah, kind of one of those deals. So watch both of them, but also at the same time, do your own research and, you know, try to get yourself the most best complete picture that's out there. But I thought that what the Dark Side of the Ring crew had did, it wasn't filth. It wasn't slutty and all of that other shit that Dana Warrior was putting out there. When it's all said and done, kind of like what I was telling Tams right before I came in here and did the show, what I said was, you know, it came off as if probably one of the main reasons why why Dana Warrior said what she said, she might have been feeling a little bit territorial. She might have been of the jealous type that, quite honestly, she didn't like the fact that Jim and Sherry still kind of, you know, had that relationship. And I wouldn't be that surprised if Dana felt so territorial and she did not want to see under any circumstance Sherry and Jim have any type of a relationship, in fear that they may get back together, despite the fact that Sherry had moved on to a whole new relationship, got married and all of that. I wouldn't be surprised if she had got so territorial that she really pushed upon Jim to, you need to be done with her. I would not be surprised by that whatsoever, because remember from the A&E special, one thing you learned about Jim Hellwig was, if you were there for him at his lowest moments, you were a friend to him. When he was in need, he was very, very loyal to you. Very loyal to you, because there was only but such a small amount of people that were, remember the story that they had told about when he went back to his high school reunion and all that, and when he felt that he made it big and everything, there was only but a small number of people he had at his table, while everybody else was trying to play kiss up to him and all that other bullshit. You know, he knew who his real friends and family were at that point. So, you know, kind of keeping that in mind, I can definitely understand him still trying to continue to have that relationship with Sherry. But I wouldn't be surprised if Dana felt very territorial and she pretty much, you know, you need to be done with that woman. So, you know, I definitely feel that, combined with the fact that Dana, the last thing that she's going to do is rock the boat and even remotely come off as if she's going against WWE, the same company that pretty much has been financially supporting her and her family all these years since Warrior's death. Friendly reminder, she has a backstage creative role. You put two and two together. But check out both. That's my recommendation. Check out both and come away at your own accord. Hopefully it'll entice you to maybe want to do a little bit more research though. Other than that, I'm gonna say that's pretty much it. How long have we been on the air now? So we've done about 2 hours, 25 minutes. I really did not mind going longer tonight. Notice I never did put we got to be done by this time. I only want to do this length. I didn't mind doing a nice little long show for you guys here, because I mean, this is pretty much it. This is our season finale. And you know, real talk for a second. And I'm only going to say this one more time. You guys, you had yourself fun. Boom. You see all that, you know what to do. So, you know, real talk for a second. I've never done a season finale before. The longest break I have done without doing a show is maybe 1 week. That's the longest that I've done. You know, we're talking 2 weeks here. So for us podcasters, that's like an eternity. You know, that's seriously like a fucking eternity, because it's like so much happens during that time frame, and then you kind of have to figure out a way to get yourself caught up to speed on everything that you have missed and all that good stuff. But even though it's 2 weeks, I'm definitely gonna miss interacting with you guys live here, you know, on the shows for that period of time and all that. You know, I just want to take this time out, and I just want to say thank you for, you know, 'cause I know I say it, you know, I just feel sometimes I don't say it enough. I do appreciate those of you that go out of your way, you check out the shows on a weekly basis. I do appreciate the support. You guys have no idea. Whether I'm doing a live show and there's only 5 people that tune in, or it's 30 people, or I get 100 that tune in live, or whatever. Even if ultimately the greatest support you can show is checking out the show on demand and the downloads, however you go about checking out the show, I do appreciate that love and support, as always. To everybody that occasionally comes out of their pockets and they want to do a super chat or whatever for the show, or they become a patron, to all of you guys, appreciate you all tremendously. Love you guys tremendously. And I think it's very important to say that. I see a lot of ugliness that's going on in the world. I especially see so much ugliness that goes on, that goes like the bickering and the verbal bashing and all of that. You know, when it's all said and done, at the end of the day, you know, we try to create a atmosphere for you guys where you can forget about your problems, whatever's going on at work, whatever's going on at home. And we had, I think it was Joshua the other day, he was at the hospital, or some stuff that was going on. We had another listener, I don't know if that was Joshua again, but we had another listener that somebody had passed. And, you know, it was like, what the fuck, you know, for them. You know, some people have tough times. You know, we all got problems, you know, good, bad, you know, we all got our situations that's coming about. So it's nice to be able to give you guys that little bit of an escape when you come tune in and all that. I'm happy to be here and provide that escape for you guys. What else? What else do I want to say to you guys? Am I nervous getting married? Yes. Yes and no. Yes and no. I'm nervous because this is a whole different beast for me. I've never walked down an aisle before. I've never done the full-blown ceremony in front of other people. I've never done any of that. Never done any of that before. So I'm a little bit nervous, definitely, especially as the days get closer. I'm definitely nervous. Because when I got married the first time, all me and my ex did was we went to the courthouse. We paid the little fee, and at the courthouse, we had pretty much got married. We got married at the courthouse. And then afterwards, we pretty much went home. We watched Jerry Springer. I remember that. We watched Jerry Springer. It was either Jerry Springer or who else might it have been? One of them shows, though. It was like, I want to say it was Jerry Springer. We didn't celebrate, if you know what I mean, because she had her visitor. Hint, hint. But I just remember I was on cloud 9, though. It was like, but in retrospect, I remember just saying to myself, now, if I could have done some things differently, I definitely would have done the walking down the aisle and all of that. So I'm nervous for all of that stuff that's getting ready to happen this weekend. But I'm also excited at the same time. You know, there's a big part of me. I'm really happy with the fact that I didn't just try to rush into a new relationship, because that used to be a very deadly game I would play years prior. I mean, I would just get into relationships, head first. And I'm not talking about the head, downstairs. I'm talking about head first. I wouldn't just follow my heart and just ride it out and really, really take my time. And so many relationships that I've been in over the years, whether it was with women that were several years older than me, educational background, I'm like at a certain level, but they're at a much higher level. Whether it was Latina, Black, Chinese, there was no discrimination at my end. For me, what it was all about was just trying to find the right person that, accepted me for me and my flaws, but could also help me bring out the best version of me that's humanly possible. And I would like to believe that that's pretty much what relationships is all about, is finding that right person that, as I just said, accepts you for your flaws, but also at the same time pushes you to be a better individual, pushes you to never settle, right? And so remember, love knows no boundaries. Love knows no race. It doesn't have discrimination. It is endless, and it's blindness when you really stop and think about it. Love is blindness when you think about it. So to be able to walk down this aisle with a woman that has been my right-hand man these past 10 years. Some would say long time coming. I've been egged on by friends. When are you going to put a ring on that woman's finger already? And so it's a long time coming. I'm happy. I'm truly at peace. After I get married, I could, tomorrow, I'd be on cloud nine. So nothing's going to change as far as the relationship that we've got and the shows that we continue to put out for you guys. You guys just get to ride along with me for this next chapter, and I'm really happy that you guys are going to be in on the ride, man. Seriously, I'm really happy about it. So yeah, so nervous, happy, excited at the same time, in a nutshell. So while I'm away, one thing that I am going to be working on is some new layouts. It's time to really freshen things up, especially with November quietly but fast approaching. That's officially going to mark the 10-year anniversary of the RCWR show. And definitely got, a lot of cool things planned, especially now that COVID is pretty much in the books and all of that good stuff. So more details as we get a little bit closer. But yeah, while I'm away, I'm definitely going to be working on some new layouts, see if we can put together a new show intro. I can't wait. I'm going to be doing a little bit of tinkering here and there. So it's going to be cool. Also going to be working on some new features. Definitely, I can tell you off the break, if I can have it my way, I can learn the software and all of that good stuff. Definitely when I come back, hopefully we will have incorporated a phone line or something equivalent where you guys will be able to call in live and sound off about some of the stuff that is happening in this crazy world of pro wrestling and beyond. So a lot of stuff that we got planned for the future that's going to be going down a lot sooner than you guys think. So keep it right here. You know what time it is. On that note, for the final time, I got to get into my shameless plugging. Be kind, rewind. Check out previous episodes of the RCWR show you may have missed on demand and on the downloads, wherever you get your podcasts. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. Make sure you show that extra love and support, and check out my good friends in Wrestling Soup. Check out Don Tony. Make sure you show extra love to my man Cynic Alex. He covers all things Marvel Future Fight. Love that game. He just put out a kick-ass video today where he ranked all the newest awakened tier characters. So for those of you that's wondering what's going on with Proxima and Ebony Maw, and yeah, you definitely want to go check out that video, especially while their costumes are still available at a nice little significant discount. Your man definitely gonna, if you want to know which one I'm gonna be going for, Corvus is the one I'm gonna be going for. I was thinking about going for Super Giant, but I really liked Cynic Alex's gameplay of what was going on there when he was playing as Corvus on that Null stage, and that pretty much for me was like, ooh, and just what he was able to do with pretty much basic Urus that he had equipped. I'm like, yeah, I think I might go for that. That one looked kind of spicy for me. That one looked spicy for me. Yeah, that's gonna do it. I wish I could keep going with this show. I'm telling you, you guys have no idea. Even though I'm gonna be gone for 2 weeks, I legit feel sad that I'm gonna be away for 2 weeks. Legit. I am legit sad. But we'll do this again. Season premiere of the RCWR show. At this point, I will be back with you guys. I'll be back from my wedding honeymoon vacation. I will be back during the week of the 15th, but I don't think a show is gonna be happening until, I'll try to see what's going on with NWA. If NWA is actually doing something, I'll gladly come back that Tuesday and we can pretty much kick it off with NWA. We could definitely do that. If AEW is actually back that Wednesday, we can definitely do something there. Who knows? Maybe as it gets closer, I'll create a poll and you guys can tell me what you all would like. Maybe if it's like a super show or something like that. Okay. But that's going to do it, my pretty babies. Stay connected to me on social media. Like I said, I'm not going to be on social media like that from here on out. NXT is this Tuesday. I will be live tweeting about NXT. So you got that. And then while the NBA playoffs is on, I'll actually be live tweeting about that. But I mean, if it's not any of those things, I'm pretty much going to be on the low. I'll post some pictures here and there while I'm on the road and all. But that's pretty much going to be it. But stay connected on the social media feed so you see what's going down. All right. Until next go round, I'm wishing all y'all to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. Thank you guys so much for the support, love, appreciation. As always, means a lot. I'll see you guys next go round. Be well, my friends. Take care.